This is a webinar, uh, and it's an overview and navigation for the FamilySearch Family Tree. So the objective is hopefully after the end of the presentation and some questions that you may have, that you will have an introduction and just knowledge of the FamilySearch Family Tree. And then you'll also have a introduction into how to navigate through the tree and all the features that it provides. So if you see my mouse here hovering over Family Tree, this is essentially what we'll be going over today. So first off, I just want to go over some of the pros and great things for the that are great for the Family Tree. And so here I'm on the overview page, and it talks about that here. So if we go down a little bit, you'll see here it's the world's largest online family tree. So there's so much information about your ancestors from all over the world on Family Tree. So if you are looking for information on your ancestors, there's a high probability that they're here on the FamilySearch Family Tree. Secondly, it's easily shared and accessible. Ideally, there is one public profile for a deceased ancestor. So sometimes there are duplicates. And if you have questions about duplicates, there is a webinar on that. But ideally, there is one profile per deceased individual. And so everyone can contribute to that profile. And so as you come and search for information about a particular ancestor, like for example, if I was searching for information on my ancestor, Charles Brenneman, as you see here, if I go to his page, people can add information to his page, and I can look it up and see what people have added about him and any sources they may have included. Secondly, you can build your tree with ease. As you are first making your family tree, and as you add information about your parents and grandparents, oftentimes it will link you to profiles that have been already created for those people. And then as you connect to people in that database, it finds the match and it will auto-populate information, which saves you a lot of time. And if you've been doing family history, even just for a little bit, you'll understand that it can take a long time to find information. And so this is a great way to save time and to access information that people have already gathered for you. Going along, you can collaborate with others. You can collaborate with other members of the FamilySearch website, working on different ancestors and other people in your tree. And you can come together and work on and try to create and add information as well sourced as you can. And then again, you can connect with other family members that you may, those third and fourth cousins that, that might live in another country or across the, on the East Coast or West Coast, wherever they may be. And so you can connect with family members who are also members of this site. So one thing is we just want to go over some of the difficulties with the FamilySearch Family Tree. So this is a shared collaborative tree, and it's just one tree. So sometimes there can be some mix-ups uh, between people, and as you all probably have come to know, people have the same names. There's 50 John Smiths who were born in 1840 in this one county, or there's a bunch of, for example, for me, there are a ton of Brennemans born in Pennsylvania, and a lot of Charles Brennemans, a lot of Christian Brennemans, and sometimes it's really hard to tell them apart. So sometimes people add information that's incorrect, and there can just be some mix-ups, and people may think that one person is married to this person, but it actually isn't the case. And so it can just be difficult because people have common names a lot of the times. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And also just keep in mind people are just trying to do their best. No one is really trying to add information with ill intention or spread misinformation. They're just trying to do their best. And so if you ever have any disagreements with people, just try to message them, and hopefully everything can be worked out. Um, and another thing, so as I said, this is a collaborative tree. So this is not this is not your own private tree. People can change information. And so that's just something to keep in mind. It's not like a private tree that you would find on ancestry.com or on other websites. So now we're just going to go over some of the features on FamilyTree. And so here I'll go to one of my ancestors, Charles Brenneman. So this is his family tree. So as you can see here, these are his children that are to the left. And then to the right, we have his parents and grandparents. And so you can expand the family tree by pressing on these arrows that you see here at the end of the landscape. And so if you press on those arrows, it'll show you the further generations. And then again, if I press on the arrow here on the left, it will show you his grandchildren. And so this is the landscape view, and this can be modified to your preferences by going here to this icon that I'm hovering over that says options. And so if I press on options, it'll show me all the things that I can modify for this pedigree, for this landscape. So for example, if I just want to focus on record hints and where record hints are available, I can turn all the other ones off, and it will just show me record hints. Unfortunately, there are no record hints on this family tree, but they will look like the icon here, this little blue with a person and page icon. And so here we have data problems. So if you don't have a standardized place or date, it will show up like this red circle with the exclamation point. This also shows portraits. So if, for example, some of his, he has a portrait and his wife, and some of his grandchildren have portraits. So people have added pictures in the family tree that you can now see on their profile. And then it can add marriages, and then also children. So you see down here Um, you'll see John C. Brenneman and Rhoda Mary Preston, who are the parents of Charles Brenneman and Beatrice here. So if I want to look at their children, I can press down and it'll bring down a drop down menu and it'll show their children here. And so you see this is a little small and I can make it bigger. If you have a touch screen, you can just make it bigger by touching the screen, or you can make it bigger here with these icons to the right. So you can zoom in and you can also zoom out. Okay, and then, so let's say you're kind of going through the family tree and you're kind of going up a certain line and you're like, oh, I want to go back to the beginning. So if you press here, you can reset view, which will bring you back to the beginning view here with Charles Brenneman. Then here, this icon, the home icon, will bring you back to yourself. So if you press the home icon, it will bring you to your profile here on FamilySearch Family Tree, which I won't do just to protect my privacy. But if you want to do that, that's what you can do. Press here on home. And this icon here is to toggle full screen mode. So if I press on it, I'll get rid of the menu on top. So you have a bit more room to play with to zoom in and zoom out to get a better view of your family tree. So there are other different views that you can use here on Family Tree. So we'll go over the different views. So we'll see here we have 5 different views. And so next we'll go to Portrait. So Portrait is the same as Landscape. It is just essentially, instead of going left to right, it's vertical. So everything that I showed you in Landscape applies to Portrait. Next, we have Fan Chart. And this is the one that I find most useful in my own research. So here we have the fan chart of Charles Brenneman. And you can adjust the fan chart to show you different information about your family tree. So here right now, I have it on, it's showing me the amount of sources for each member of the family tree. So you see here the dark orange, these people have 10 plus sources. And sources are like documents that record information about your family members. So things about their birth, marriage, or death, things like obituaries, other things like that. So, but I can change that. So for example, I can just make it family lines, and that'll just show me the different family lines for Charles Brenneman. Or I can change it to birthplace. And so you see here on the left, it'll show you the different birthplace for everyone in the family tree according to the color. So mostly United States with some Germany, Switzerland, and British colonial America and England mixed in. So I showed you sources. You can also do stories. And we go over stories in other webinars, but they are just photos or documents, pictures and audio files that people have added to different pages here on FamilyTree. And so you can see here there are a few, but not many sources or stories. And then also you can do photos and research help. So here we have record hints and research suggestions. And so if I were to press on this page, I can go to her person page, and that would show me what suggestions they have. And if I pressed on this page for a more Preston, I could press on the person page down here, and that would show me what record hints they have for a more Preston. And then here we have Descendancy view. So imagine you're working on your family tree and you've kind of gone as far back as possible, and maybe you're running into some trouble of going further back. For example, with Charles Brenneman, his grandfather was born in Switzerland, so I'm trying to jump the Atlantic Ocean, across the pond to try to find more information about Christian Brenneman to move the tree back. But right now, that's as far as it goes. So what I can also do is I can, instead of building the tree backwards, I can fill it out wide and deep. So I can find the descendants of Charles Brenneman. And so here it will show you the different descendants. So here we have his spouse. And if I press on this arrow, it will show me their children. And so here for William Dudley Brenneman, if I press on the arrow next to him, it will show me his spouse and potential children. Now, there are no children here, but for Charles Brenneman Jr., it will show me his children, and you can continue going down the line with the different children and spouses. So for here, Christian Brenneman, his spouse, one of his spouses was Lucille Marion Doran, and this was his child. And so you can toggle and show the different their children and so on and so forth. And this is, you can also do the same the same options here to modify, to show the different generations. So 1, 2, 3, or 4 generations. And you can invert the colors, show spouses, portraits, data problems, so on and so forth. And the last view we have here is first ancestor. So if I press on first ancestor, it goes through the paternal line, showing me the oldest paternal ancestor of John Brenneman, which is, as we see, Brenneman. So this is especially useful if you're doing research in Eastern Asia, in places like China and Japan, where they have, for example, in China, they have the Jaipu, which is where is a book that shows family history according to a clan, where paternal ancestors are very important. And so in a lot of those books, you can trace paternal lines back into the 1000, 900, 800 AD. And so this is a view that can help you track those lines if they're here on the family tree. And again, you can modify You can modify the ancestors and the person of focus here and what you want to show. So if I press on this, I can add a first ancestor, or that will show me the preferred first ancestor, which is Christian Brenneman. And these options are the same. So zoom in, zoom out, go back to your target person. All right. So those are all the views. So now we're running low on time, but we'll go over these other options here. So recents will show you people that you've recently been researching, and it'll show you the last 50 people that you've gone to. And then here we have find. And then you can find people within the FamilySearch Family Tree, either by their name or by their ID. And again, Mary Neal, this is taped, so you'll be able to watch the beginning. And that's a great question, Janeth, right? I think in the Q&A we'll talk about if you can print the descendants chart. So every person page here on the FamilySearch Family Tree has a unique ID. So here on the first ancestor chart, so if you see this number down here, this is Christian Brenneman's unique ID. So if you know the ID of this person, you can go to find, and you can enter the ID. And that's great because if your ancestor has a common name, you can know it's them by their unique ID. Okay. Then next here we have following. So you can follow certain people on the FamilySearch Family Tree. So if you're working on someone regularly, you can add them to your list. So for example, here I have these 5 people that I'm following. And so options are I can sort it by the date changed, the name, ID number, first name, and I can change it from descending or ascending. And then also here, if I press on following, I can unfollow them by pressing this star. And then I can also add labels. And again, I should mention, when you're following someone, FamilySearch will notify you when changes have been made to that person's page. So if I'm working on Charles Brenneman and someone adds a source, I'll be notified immediately by email that there's been a change made, and I can go there and look at the change. And so if you're following a lot of people, you can, again, organize them by label. So these are some of the labels here. For example, maybe you're stuck on someone, or you're actively changing their person page, or you're at the end of the line, and this is the last person on the line, and you're trying to go further. You can create that label. You can also create a new label. You can create up to 10 labels. If these are not descriptive or to your liking, you can create personal labels as well. So yeah, that is the following page. And just one last thing, if you press on the three dots, you can see how many people are following this person. So for example, if you have a more famous ancestor, there might be several people following him. Uh, or you can unfollow them here, and you can add a label here by pressing on the three dots. Okay, lastly, you have my contributions. So my contributions will show you any contributions that you've made or changes that you've made uh, in Family Search, um, chronologically from most recent to least recent. So this will show you some of the changes that I've made most recently. And again, you can modify this uh, by person, um, and or all changes. And you can search for changes by name here on the right. So yeah, if you're just remembering, like, hey, I can't remember, but I made a change recently, you can go to here to my contributions and see the changes that you've made. So here you have stats, and then private people are living people within your family tree. Um, and so I won't show you that just to protect privacy. Um, and then lastly here, you have person list. And so person list is, we'll just show you people that you have gone to recently. And it's, similar to recent. So yeah, that's the end of the presentation.